They could be. You can do it. You can do it as a straight line. All right. So we're going to start off looking at number 7. All right. How many equations do we see in number 7? 2. I can see 2 distinct lines, so I know when I write this out that I'm going to have 2 of those. So I'm going to go ahead and say y equals. All right, and if you picture this first one, if we were to continue it on and follow that pattern, can you guys tell what the y-intercept is and what the slope is? 0. Yeah, the y-intercept is 0. What's the slope? 1. All right, so that should be the equation 1x plus 0. You don't need the 1, you don't need the 0. You could just say x if you prefer that. Okay. And what are the values of x that this line used? I see it's at 0, right? And -1, and -2, and -3, and -4, and -5. So this is if x less than 0, less than 0. Okay?
What if there's no dot?
We draw the dots when we do it to make them really easy to see. If it's computer generated, there will never be a dot there. So you just kind of have to look and tell.
I have those numbers closed or open.
It's closed. It's guaranteed closed because we don't see an open circle.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question. All right, so this one's done. How about the other one?
2x plus 0.
2x plus 0, so we have a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of 0. And what are the x values that you guys see on that one? X is greater than 0, all right? And then, like Kalia mentioned, we are not, if we look at this one, we're not seeing an open circle that was not filled in, right? There's no point on the graph where they're showing us, yep, this point is not filled in here. All the points are being used. So that means that we have to have one of these equations equaling 0. It doesn't matter which one you choose. There's not enough information to tell which one they intended to equal 0. So you just have to pick one or the other. So which one do you guys want to use, the top or bottom? Top. All right, so we're going to put equal to 0, and then we're done. We got all the stuff in there. Okay. All right. We're going to jump down to number 12 because I think number 12 is the most difficult one on the page. All right. So we have 3 equations this time. So I'm going to leave myself a lot of room. My squiggly bracket. Okay. What do you guys think the equation of this line is?
What one?
This big one right here. Yeah, this one right here.
I think it's 2.
3.
So it has a y-intercept of 2. What about the slope?
3.
1/3. So it goes up 1, right 3. So the slope is 1/3. And what do we see about the x values? Breaks off right there. X is less than 3. Okay. All right, next we have a parabola. What's the vertex of that parabola?
4, 2.
4, 2. Okay, 4, 2. So we've got something in parentheses squared. So how do we write a parabola with a vertex of +4, +2?
X minus 4.
X minus 4 goes in the parentheses,
And then
plus 2 on the outside. Now, normal graphs, well, normal parabolas, at least, they go over 1, up 1. So does this have a stretch or a compression? Does it flip upside down? No, it's going right side up. So that's it for our parabola. If, and then what are the x values in between on this parabola?
Greater than 3.
Yeah, it's between 3 and
6.
6. Okay, so we're going to, this is how we write it. Put an x value right there. Put a 3 on the left side, but leave some space for your inequality. Put a 6 on the right side. And we know x has to be greater than 3, so the big side of the inequality has to go towards the x. So x is bigger than 3, but x is less than 6. So the big side goes to the x because it's bigger than 3. The small side goes to the x because it's less than 6. Okay. And then our last one, can you guys tell what the slope is of the last one?
Negative x.
That one.
Negative x.
Yeah, it's a negative. It's a negative slope, -1. So I've got -1x. I can tell my slope is -1. I went ahead and I extended my picture.
Plus 12.
So plus 12. My y-intercept is 12. I had to go off the graph a little bit. And that's if x
Is
greater than 6. All right. Now, when we see where these graphs connect, are there open circles where the graphs connect? No. So that means that somewhere we have to say that we include 3 either here or we include it here. Where do you guys want it to equal 3? Top equation or middle equation? Top. All right. So it has to equal 3 on that one. It has to equal 6 somehow. So do we want it to equal 6 in the middle or equal 6 at the bottom? Bottom. All right. So that means that if you were to compare your answers for these with a friend, your equations should be exactly the same. Your intervals should be the same as well. The only thing that might be slightly different is if you chose a different one to equal. Okay, does that make sense? So if you look at all of these, like these two, number 9 and number 8 are going to have some problems. Where you don't have to choose which one you put the equals to in. That one, they've definitely chosen for you which one should equal. But when you do number 10 and number 11, you're going to have to choose which one does the equal. Okay. How are we going to do this one right here, number 8, that has that horizontal line? It's just one number, right? What's the one number we're going to see? Okay, -2 if x greater than -2. Is it supposed to equal it as well? Yeah, it looks like a dot that's filled in. It's a little bit darker. Okay. All right, so go ahead and work on that. We're making sure we turn in every single page, right? Every single piecewise assignment we've been given. All righty.